President Kennedy was a student of history. He won the Pulitzer Prize for Profiles in Courage, his study of moral leadership in times of crisis. The Kennedy Library is founded on the premise that citizens in a free society should have access to the historical record. In a democracy, we have the privilege of being able to debate the past in order to determine what kind of future we want for ourselves and our children. That's what we'll do here today.
Over 50 years ago, in 1962, that was September 12th, in 1906, President John F. Kennedy made a famous address on the nation's space effort in Houston, Texas, at Rice University. I live in Houston now, and that was before I was born. And the seed that he planted at that time now has grown into a complex international cooperative effort in human space flight.
Well, when you think of diversity, you think of difference, whether it be race, gender, disability, sexual orientation, sexual preference, age. That's the difference. That's diversity. And we have all of that, or should have all of that in our workplace. But how you bring all of those differences together, how you include everyone, as Charlie said, how do you ensure everyone has a voice? That's inclusion. Diversity may be difference, but inclusion is valuing difference.
I've probably been asked 1,000 times over the last many years, why did I join the Peace Corps? And the very simple answer I've given is one that's true, and that is someone asked me to do something. The President of the United States asked not only a generation of us, in many ways that day he spoke far beyond the parameters of his own country, but he asked all of us, regardless of where we lived, to be a part of things larger than ourselves. And that was the great excitement for me, to be asked to do something far bigger than myself, to be engaged in a way where I might make a difference in the lives of others.
In 1962 and 63, Kennedy would often give a speech in which he would say, on the current trajectory, by the 70s, there's going to be 25 or 30 nuclear weapon states. And if you imagine a world with 25 or 30 nuclear weapon states, and many of them playing out something as crazy as the Cuban Missile Crisis, where you are there in a confrontation and you have a 1 in 3 to half chance of war, you're going to have nuclear wars. And pretty soon, you're going to have a world people can't live in. So that's not the world we want to build. The Non-Proliferation Treaty actually has been extremely successful. And here we are now, 40 years on, only 9 states, not 25 or 30 states. And why not? Because in the Non-Proliferation Treaty, states have agreed themselves voluntarily to forswear nuclear weapons, trying to build towards a different world.
米国と日本、夢を見る力を育て、それから差別をなくし、人権を重んじる決意をいよいよ堅固にして、これからの時代を一緒に世界を少しずつでももっといい場所にしていこうではありませんか。それは JFK が残してくれたレガシーに正しく報いる道だと信じます。
President Clinton is a true friend of Japan. He visited this country 5 times as president, more than any of his predecessors. And he recognizes how invaluable this partnership is to both nations and to the entire world. I was born exactly 1 day before he was sworn in as president, and his inaugural address was the first speech I ever heard. He has inspired me since day 2, and his example is one we may all look to for hope and for guidance as we work to build a better world.
That may be the ultimate lesson of the Test Ban Treaty, of the Peace Corps sending young Americans to places they never would have gone, to make friends with people they never would have met, to our quest for scientific and technological discovery that now is almost exclusively dominated by multinational efforts of different people from different perspectives, seeking a common yet unknown truth. All these gifts were given by President Kennedy and his administration to the future. And in a profound way, his most important legacy may have been that he found a way to make sure that young people like me, who never could have been predicted to have the life I turned out to have, absorbed those lessons, were transformed by them. There were millions of us. A lot of us are still hanging around. And a lot of us have done our very best to impart those values to our children and grandchildren. I hope President Kennedy would be proud of what we did with the legacy he bequeathed us. Thank you very much.